We need a theme song or something.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the spookiest small screen tunes of all time. Number 10, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The old-school Archie comics origin of Sabrina Spellman are set on full display during the opening of her series, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The opening theme sounds like a tune out of time, a wonderful throwback to both Golden Age horror as well as those classic drive-in flicks of the 1950s, 60s and 70s. Composer Adam Taylor includes some spooky strings and ghostly background noises, alongside what appears to be a synthesized adaptation of a theremin here. It's the sort of title theme that sounds ripped from one of those Halloween sound effects tapes we all loved as kids, and this is definitely a compliment. Number 9, Are You Afraid of the Dark? For the record, we're referring to the original 90s series when we signal out the awesomeness of Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark for this list. This was another show that wore its horror influences on its sleeves, specifically with regards to its anthology format. Tales from the Crypt is clearly a huge influence here, and can be seen with both the visual style of the show's opening as well as its theme song. This is atmospheric, unrepentantly dark stuff for the kiddie set, relying upon low sonic rumbles and the creepy sound of children's laughter to get its point across. Elsewhere, the final few moments introduce that iconically mournful melody that still lives rent-free within the minds of 90s kids around the world. Number 8, Twin Peaks. Writer-director David Lynch forever left his mark upon the landscape of television with the release of Twin Peaks back in 1990. This serial drama immediately captured the imaginations of a small but rabid fanbase, becoming the cult show to trump all other cult shows. It's also more than likely that these fans were hooked from the opening credits, which feature mesmerizing music from composer Angelo Badalamenti, Lynch had previously worked with Badalamenti on his film Blue Velvet, and this partnership seemingly resulted in a Peaks theme that practically drips mystery, unease, and suspense. Yet there's also a subtle tranquility to this ominously beautiful theme, an ethereal dirge that feels like a funeral march in heaven. Number 7, Freddys' Nightmares. Hey, did you know that both the Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th franchises received small screen adaptations back in the 80s? It's true. Both featured some pretty excellent opening theme music too, but Freddys' Nightmares benefited from actually featuring Robert Englund in the title role as Freddy Krueger. The actor introduced each episode in character, while composer Nicholas Pike delivered a theme tune that nicely echoed the original music from Charles Bernstein. Pike was no compositional slouch himself, however, and utilised his experience scoring Critters 2, the main course, to create a perfectly malevolent mood. The main theme of A Nightmare on Elm Street the series is percussive, spooky, and very 80s. In the best possible way, of course. Number 6, Tales from the Crypt. It's one of the most beloved television horror anthology series of all time. Tales from the Crypt utilised a myriad of different composers throughout its run, but that iconic opening theme tune could have only come from the mind of one man, Danny Elfman.
It's a dead man's party. Who could ask for more?
The creative stamp of this former Oingo Boingo singer is all over this introduction. The song encapsulates Elfman's ability to sound both foreboding and totally cool at the same time. It's a catchy, hummable melody to be sure, yet the instrumentation used ensures that Tales from the Crypt never sounds too bright or cheerful. Instead, this opening theme embodies everything that endeared the old EC comic books to generations of monster kids and horror fans.
Tales from the Crypt.
Number 5. Stranger Things. The 1980s setting of Netflix's Stranger Things seemed to remind everyone of just how cool synthesizers are, although real synth heads always remembered the power of these versatile instruments. Michael Stein and Kyle Dixon were members of an electronic group called Survive prior to being called upon to compose the score for Stranger Things. The pair utilised their extensive expertise to craft a haunting, pulsing synth theme that immediately sets the mood for what's about to occur. Comparisons to horror icon John Carpenter and his own musical pedigree were inevitable, but Stein and Dixon never feel like pretenders to a throne, but instead heirs for a new generation. Number 4. The Walking Dead. The resume of composer Bear McCreary is one that looms large, and frankly speaks for itself.
Battlestar Galactica was my first job as a composer. To say that it changed my life is the understatement of the century.
The man knows how to write an evocative theme, and chief among them just might be McCreary's work for The Walking Dead. It's all about the strings when it comes to this title tune, reminiscent of Psycho's theme with an insistent rhythmic pulse that seems to echo the desperate situation at hand. It's slightly gothic, but also with a definable melody that makes it instantly recognisable to fans of the show. The Walking Dead soundtrack is perfectly suited to its grim and gory source material. Number 3. The X-Files. Is there any whistling effect more iconic to sci-fi and horror fans than the one front and centre during the opening to The X-Files? It's an opening theme that's haunted the dreams of fans forever, and they probably wouldn't want it any other way. The show's creator, Chris Carter, has spoken in interviews how he was heavily inspired by the Monster of the Week approach of the cult 70s series Kolchak, the Night Stalker. That show possessed a creepy opening theme with a featured whistle, but Carter and his vision ran with that inspiration for all he was worth, successfully updating it for the 1990s. Number 2. Unsolved Mysteries. Television audiences find certain themes creepy for a number of reasons, including some that may actually be unintentional. That said, there is no such ambivalence when it comes to Michael Boyd and Gary Ramal Malkin's composed title theme to Unsolved Mysteries. This tune is designed from Jump Street to get under your skin, to unnerve you and get you in the proper mood for Robert Stack and his Tales of the Unknown.
Join me for 2 hours of intriguing cases and a celebration of 200 songs on Unsolved Mysteries.
That synthesizer melody is haunting and relentless, swirling in and out of the percussive booms that permeate the title theme with a heart-pounding intensity. Simply said, there's nothing else quite like it. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions. The The Leftovers, mournful musical desolation for this unique HBO series. Hammer House of Horror perfectly captures the spirit of this iconic British film studio. Goosebumps. Totally 90s and totally nostalgic.
You will beware. You're in for a scare. Goosebumps.
American Horror Story. While sharing some sonical elements, it's different every season, and composer Charlie Clouser always delivers. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Twilight Zone.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
The opening to The Twilight Zone received many subtle tweaks throughout its short but hugely impactful run from 1959 to 64. This was another show that utilised multiple composers, but its most well-recognised opening theme debuted on the show's second season. It's here where that creepy and cool guitar part from French composer Marius Constant enters the cultural zeitgeist. After being lifted from a pair of library sessions, Constant recorded for CBS. This wasn't the only time the Twilight Zone creator, Rod Serling, would freak out his audience with a spooky TV intro. The show's spiritual successor, Night Gallery, would further explore the macabre imaginations of fans with a vibe all its own from the 1970s. Do any of these themes still haunt you? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.